So I took a photo early this morning. I don't have any video of it just because I was a little too preoccupied with trying not to get frostbite. I don't know how you guys in the cold climates do with photographing in winter. I think I'm just not used to it, but man, my fingers are frozen, my toes are frozen. I was all layered up and stuff, but my mind just wasn't working as well as it should. But I got there pretty early, set up the camera, and I'd placed some rocks on the ground where I exactly put the tripod legs. So my shot was all set up and waiting for me. I exposed 2 sheets of Ektar 100 in the soft glow before sunrise. And it's a relatively high contrast scene with some snow up high and then the foreground in shade. So I figured Ektar would probably be decent for that. I didn't use a stopwatch or anything, I just kind of guessed how long the exposure should be based on the light meter and just running along exposure. As the glow got a little stronger, I used some Velvia and exposed 2 sheets of that. And then finally, as sun started hitting the peaks, I shot some black and white, some Delta 100. But seeing as though my brain was thoroughly frozen, I forgot to change my light meter. So my light meter was set to ISO 50 instead of 100, so the film got an extra stop of light. But I don't know. We'll see how that works out. But it was pretty clear this morning. A little bit of clouds came in as sunrise got close. And then after sunrise, some high clouds kind of built in, so kind of snuffing out any light. But now, I'm just walking through a wash on the east side, which is thoroughly frozen, and lots of ice, lots of snow. And I'm gonna spend some time scouting today, seeing what I could find. Gotta load some film, and I don't know, it's all part of the adventure. So after heading through the washes and scouting out some other areas, I got back in my truck and headed back over a little further towards the east. And found a scene, so I went ahead and set up my camera. And this is the first time I've used the 600mm lens, so we'll see how this works out. But the scene is what you see behind me here. There's a little bit of the cliffs and the sandstone stuff that has snow on it. A lot of the areas it's melted. But this area still has actually pretty good looking snow. But what caught my eye was that kind of zigzag shape of red sandstone where it's a vertical face and there's no snow on it. So I shot a horizontal photo with black and white film because I thought the contrast was interesting, but then also with a Kodak Ektar. And when I photographed it, the sky was nowhere near as bright as it is now. The clouds were much thicker. So you ended up having the sky and the snow was a very similar brightness. And as a result, I think that red streak and also the trees will really stand out. My goal is to make it kind of a little bit more of a high-key photo, and it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But now I gotta get things packed up and then head back to the truck and then keep heading east. There's some areas with some even more dense snow and some interesting patterns, and see what we can find over there. Well, there's been a little bit of a change in the weather. There's a lot of sunshine out there now, and so it has me thinking that maybe there might be some potential for a sunset photo. Otherwise, I should be kind of scouting for something sunrise related. But I went a little further on the east side. A lot more snow over here. So I'm just looking to get up over this ridge so I can see if there's this little tree that I had tried to photograph many years ago. If it's still around and if the background would be pretty good for a photo. So we'll see what we find up here. Hoping it'll be good. So that is the tree that I've tried to photograph in years past, but not when there's many snow here. The snow kind of falls down the slope back there and basically I mean, there's snow for a background, which is nice, but I like to see a little bit more of the textures of the rock with a little bit of snow on it. So I kind of tried to see if there's a composition there, but wasn't really feeling it. But when we look this way, the down canyon view is pretty cool. So lots of layers, lots of good snow, and to me that seems like to be more of a sunrise sort of photo. And I bet it'd be pretty cool up here, but I think at this point my plan should be to come up here and watch a sunrise, see if it's light that would be pretty good to capture. And if so, you know, I'll come back and shoot it the next morning, depending on the conditions, of course. But pretty cool being up here, just kind of walking around. And I said yesterday that it's like a lot easier walking around here on the slick rock when there's snow on it. And I was trying to think of why that is, and I kind of came up with it. And if I want to get from, you know, point A to point B, I just go in a straight line, versus with slick rock you have to kind of navigate it and find all kinds of other ways of getting around. So makes it quite accessible up here, and I definitely like that. But I think I'm just gonna keep wandering around a little bit, and then probably head back down to the main canyon. And it's probably about 3 o'clock right now, so we are getting a little closer to sunset. But did a lot of shooting today, and I am very happy with that. Don't know how the photos will turn out, a lot of guessing on my part, but we'll see on that. But time to keep wandering. So seeing as how I've gone to some of the locations I shot photos last fall, I figured I'd go over to one of the shots I like the best. It's one of my favorites from the trip. Kind of see how the conditions look now that we're in wintertime. So it's pretty much right here that I stood when I shot the photos of those trees right there. And it's pretty crazy. Obviously this one's changed dramatically with snow there and almost not a single leaf left on those trees. So amazing how things change so dramatically from season to season. And also, take a look down there, you'll see that the wash is filled with a little bit of ice, a little bit of snow. So this part of the park is definitely very wintry. But I just love going back to the areas that I've shot before and just kind of getting a progress update on what happens in different seasons. It kind of helps me to understand a little bit better about how these places work and what forms it, and it's just kind of cool. So that's why I want to take you here and show you that. So this is my 3rd day here now, and it took me a little while to kind of get in the swing of things, but that's what normally happens when I go on these shooting trips. But now I'm kind of feeling at home, looking around, trying to find some subjects I think would make for some good photos. And I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty exciting day, because I got my shot I want to go take a look at sunrise, and also another area to explore with hopes of getting some kind of cool photos set up against a really nice and snowy cliff. Pretty excited to be here. This is a treat. It's pretty awesome seeing this place as a winter wonderland. I got some ideas. I just spent a little more time scouting, driving around, and it's getting a little late in the day. I'm pretty tired for today, but I think I got some plans as far as what I'm going to try for tomorrow. And I'm certainly glad that I have the 600mm lens with me, because I think a lot of the photos will probably be using a long focal length. But now it's time to head back to camp and see about getting some dinner. you love this content and want to help support my journey, you can do so by subscribing to my YouTube channel, telling a friend, or sending a contribution of just $24 a year via PayPal. I depend on the generous support of people like you to produce this ad-free content. Thanks in advance for your support.